Okay, hello everyone. My name is Philip Czerny. I'm the product marketing manager at Kemp Technologies, and I'll be your presenter at today's webinar. Let's give it a couple of more seconds before, so people have time to join, and we'll start in a minute. Okay. So. Okay, so let's start in again. Welcome everyone. In today's webinar, we're gonna look how you can leverage MITRE ATT&CK Framework to better manage security threats. So let's go and jump in. I'm sure that everyone noticed or have seen in the last couple of months similar news as is displayed here. Attacks and ransomware demands are happening and an ever-increasing pace, crippling organizations and costing millions of dollars in ransom payments. There is a loss of productivity and diminished consumer confidence. Why is it happening with all the tools available in the market, and how can you help your clients to avoid this unwanted attention? Well, we'll look into that, how you can do it with our Kemp Flowmon solution. So this is from a recent report, and nicely shows that hackers attack every couple of seconds. On average, it takes more than 200 days from the identifying of the breach to notice it, and then another 70+ days to safely contain the breach. So on top of that, you have encryption. So attackers hide under encrypted traffic. More than 70% of the traffic is encrypted now. So there is another problem that you need to account for, and that is encrypted traffic analysis and found out if the attackers are lurking in the shadows. With that, you have overwhelming number of logs. In the recent report also was shown that more than 70% of firms would have known about the attack if they have looked at their logs, but because there is such an overwhelming number of them, it's hard to find the relevant events. So it's like looking for a needle at the haystack. Threat actors constantly modify the code and use advanced techniques, but they still leave the footprint at all over the network. So there is a way how you can identify it. So what happens when a security problem occurs? Well, as you can imagine, it's all hands on deck, firefight, scrambling to figure out what's going on, what the impact is, and ultimately what is causing the problem. Different teams look at different things independently and with minimal collaboration. What's even worse, that sometimes teams are looking for ways to avoid addressing the issues until someone else can prove that they need to be involved. We see it often with when we talk to our customers that network operations and security operations are usually two different teams with two different number of tool set, and they need to prove to know that it's actually on them to mitigate the problem. So what's the solution? Well, the solution is to have some good monitoring tools that will help you to protect your network. Well, what's the problem with that? Well, it can be twofold. So the tools can be either too broad, so you can have so if there is a problem, we have no visibility into the source of the problem. For example, you can have alert on the dashboard that will tell you that application is down and not available, but we don't know why, and we need to have deeper visibility, more detail. But you can also be too specific. So for example, if you have a server diagnostic dashboard, you can have too much detailed information about one item, but no correlation as to how this affects and is affected by other parts of the IT system. For example, if the CPU of a server is too high, what is causing it? What processes? Why are the processes running high? Is it because of more users? Is it because some intensive database search? Is it because a lot of failed user connections, application errors? We don't know. So we need to have a good level of insight, I would say, without having too much noise. So I'm sure that many of you have probably seen this picture in one form or another. This is a security visibility triad, or SOC visibility triad, as this is sometimes referred to. And each of these segments addresses a different part of anatomy of an attack. The reason why you want to have all these three covered is that you want to increase the probability of catching attacks and catching them early. So let's dive into each of them. So the first pillar is CM, security information and event management, and user and entity behavior analytics. So there are some statistics that say over 80% of successful hacks are actually related to compromised credentials, which is a big part of the exploit world. So having a deep understanding of what normal behavior looks like versus what abnormal behavior looks like is really important. If, for example, someone tries to log in 200 times in less than a second, that's probably not a user and you should do something about it, maybe cut that device off the network. On the other hand, if you have a large user environment, you need some way to collect all those logs, aggregate them, and analyze them. Imagine dealing with it manually. Every email alert, going through thousands of logs. It just doesn't work with these scales of networks that we're dealing with. So that's why both user behavior analysis as well as a way to aggregate the logs are really the key. The second pillar is EDR, endpoint detection and response. You know, once an asset or a set of assets is compromised, it presents a huge problem, because from that point, I'm one step closer to now getting a privileged access, which can be a real disaster. So having a real-time endpoint protection response is another key pillar. The third pillar, and this is where Kemp come with the Flowmon product line, is network detection and response. Some of you may remember that not so long ago it was called network traffic analysis, or NTA, but later it was changed to NDR. Network detection and response is really about identifying intrusions across the network, giving you a way to triage them, narrow down what really matters, so that you can filter out some of the noise. So incident responders and SOC operators can get to the stuff that really matters. Effectively, this will help you to get ahead of things, getting to their actual impact states. You may not be able to catch the exploit read at the beginning with the solution, but you want to catch the footprints before the full impact of the exploit comes up. For example, in movies, you can see hackers hacking into the mainframe, and the good guy sees them, and they keep going back and forth. But if as attractive as it is in movies, we know that that's not how it works in the real world. So it's a many small wins that ultimately lead up to the successful attack. Network detection and response is about finding and detecting those small wins, helping you to understand what's anomalous, so that you can then stop it, prepare it for the next time it happens. So if you put all these three components in one place together, you've got a better chance at catching those potential compromises early. The second important piece is having the right framework. So if you just have the tooling in place, but you don't actually have the right framework in place, you can still somewhat be going in circles. What we found, and what we found again from our customers, is that MITRE organizations provides a really useful framework for thinking about threat detection, response, and really understanding the anatomy of an attack. For those who are not familiar with MITRE, it's a government organizations founded it's a government organization's founded research, and it was spun out of the MIT and is funded by Nest, and it has connections to these three-letter agencies like CIA, FBI, NSA, and so on. So the point of the framework is that it provides a blueprint how threat actors will use different tactics and techniques and procedures to carry out an attack. It was originally developed to help provide a common language or a common vocabulary and a way of looking at things for not only for vendors, but also for blue teams and red teams when they practice against each other in a cyber arena. And this brings a great value because now you, customer, are able to pool the resources and efforts to get ahead of potential threat actors. It also provides a useful way of for red teams to play offense. But it's not just about knowing about the anatomy of the attack so you can prevent it from happening, but you can also pretend to be the attacker in a preparatory way so that you can set up a more robust infrastructure for dealing with threat actors and potential attacks in the future. If you actually check out the website, if you haven't already, there's actually 250 techniques and sub-techniques, and the point is just to get a really deep understanding of what are the types of things that happen at the different phases of the attack. Also, there was a recent update. As you can see, it was previously split into two parts: what attacker does before they launch the attack and what they are doing after. The pre-attack framework was actually retired, so now it's all been kind of brought into one piece. So you got one view to see what the anatomy of the attack looks like from the preparation stage all the way through the impact stage. So what we find is that even as we build our security products, looking at it through the lens of this framework is a really useful way to help our customers protect themselves. As you can see, if you if you look at the different stages of the attack and where they usually what kind of solution covers them, you have perimeter and endpoint security, but most of the let's say footprint is left on the network. So multi-layer security approach is very important to fill the gaps left by traditional techniques. We can still see that majority of the security budget is spent on blocking and prevention, typically on some firewall. And this is all well and good, and firewall has its place in the network security. But we found out that customers usually tend to forget or leave out the network itself. So it's really important to have that visibility and network traffic analysis available as well. So let's now look a little bit deep into the product, which is Kemp's Flowmon Anomaly Detection System. So this is the architecture overview of our product line. You can see in the core of the product in the middle sits the Flowmon collector, which is storage for the source of the data. And you have a number of options where you can get the data from the network. You can get it from third-party devices, routers, switches, or cloud platforms. You can also get it if you are already a Kemp customer using our load balancer. We recently introduced a new feature that our load balancer can generate IP fix network telemetry data and feed it to the collector for network traffic analysis. Or if neither of these options is possible, we have our own proprietary sensors, which is just a passive device that can be connected to span port or mirror port. It takes full copy of the traffic and generates the enriched network telemetry data, and it extends it for layer 7 information, so you can have even deeper visibility when you need to troubleshoot or detect any unwanted threats. And then on the collector itself, you can have various of software modules that run on the collector and visualize you the collected data from different perspectives. So for NetOps, we have network visibility and troubleshooting view. For SecOps, for security operations, we have the network detection and response capability. For application teams, we can monitor the performance of web-based applications. If necessary, we can trigger a full packet capture and provide the analysis of the captured PCAP. Or for our service provider sectors and many service providers, we can also provide a detection of volumetric DDoS attacks. This whole solution is available either via on hardware or as a virtual license. We support all the major players, either Google Cloud, Amazon, Microsoft Azure. So if we look at the Flowmon Intelligence, Flowmon provides over 40 behavioral detection methods that inspect the traffic from different perspectives. In total, these detection methods contain more than 200 individual algorithms aggregated into those 40 detection methods based on hierarchies and categories of malicious behavior that they detect. These detection algorithms use machine learning, heuristics, statistical, policy, and signature-based methods to provide balanced detection capabilities and cover the broadest spectrum of anomalies. In addition, we have developed our own proprietary technology called behavior patterns. This enables us to create a description on the metadata on the flow level to describe and detect malicious behaviors in the network. Built-in algorithms that operate based on this principle are extended with a feed of new patterns created by Kemp Technologies through updated service. So Flowmon also integrates feeds from open source IDS Suricata to provide additional information and context as well. So that's the reputational databases. So what's the differences in approach? Well, Kemp Flowmon anomaly detection is different to many vendors that claim to have advanced visibility and analytics detection capabilities in a way that we don't look at statistical changes and traffic spikes. We look at every single communication as a potential threat, and we look for the smallest indicator of compromise. So that's really important when you're trying to locate the security threats. What's also good that we are able to feed the log management or CM tool with the outputs of our system. So that nicely complements the network detection and response part with the CM part from the security visibility triad. And one nice example I would mention is that usually those CM tools can be very expensive, and it's usually licensed how much data you send through it. But what we found with some of our customers as well is that you can actually save a lot of money on licensing the CM and just send the relevant security anomalies detected by Flowmon ADS and send only that traffic to the log management tool and save the money on the licensing. And actually, I remember that some of our customers were able to pay for the whole Flowmon solution just with the money that they saved on the licensing for their CM tool, which is pretty cool. So Flowmon ADS is capable to show detected security events and how they correlate with MITRE ATT&CK Framework on the unified dashboard. So, for example, if you have an active scanning attack that is an anomaly detected by Flowmon ADS, it will show you, if you look into the captured event detail, what kind of MITRE attack tactic and techniques it is related to. And you can actually click through it and be redirected directly to the website and read more on this specific attacks that is captured. So I would summarize that in summary, you cannot manage and protect what you cannot see. So visibility, network visibility and security comes hand in hand, and having the single source of truth across the entire environment can be very beneficial. So you can see any performance degradation immediately, monitor availability, usage, capacity, and reveal any threats that can hide in the shadows. So let's look at two real-life examples that happened to some of our customers. So the first one is the file encryption for the ransom. This is what I started the slides with. This is what we see in the news every day. So if you don't monitor the network, so usually you will find out about the ransomware attack if it happens to you, usually at the last step, that you will receive an email with a sample of your data and a message. If you're not going to pay X amount of bitcoins to us, we will either release the data to the public or you will never see them again. So having the as you can see on the slides, you can see in 3 simple steps how it is captured. And first, the file is copied from shared file system onto a compromised device. The original file gets deleted from the shared file system, and then it gets uploaded back as an encrypted file. So really easy detection if you have Flowmon in place. The second use case is example of man-in-the-middle attack or the advanced malware. So what happened was that suddenly user was complaining to IT department about a slow network. Well, luckily, if the customer has Flowmon in place, they can check captured anomalies, and they can see that there is an infected device in the network who's redirecting the traffic and telling everyone in the network that he's the gateway to the internet. So all the sensitive information like password and login information goes through that infected device. Well, in this case, because the IT monitors the network traffic, they get immediate alerts from Flowmon ADS, and they can solve the solution right away. But what if the IT would not monitor the traffic? If the problem, when the problem occurs, usually it wouldn't take a couple of minutes to solve it, but it would demand a lot of manpower and a lot of hours to find the problem, probably with some manual troubleshooting, and find the root cause of the problem. And the only way how they figured out was because the user was complaining about the slow network. But what if the malware would work because there was a slow network, because the computer wasn't designed to handle that amount of traffic going through it? But what if the malware would work? From user's perspective, everything would seem okay. Attacker would gain access to the sensitive information like login and passwords, and IT would have no idea that there is a security threat inside their network. So the benefits of the Kemp Flowmon anomaly detection systems are pretty obvious. So it's the automation. The solution detects threats immediately without placing the burden of interpretation on the user. It will give you noiseless insights, so you don't have to manually sit through a huge amount of data, and you will have the, I like to call it, artificial intelligence that will do it for you and alerts you only on what you want to and need to see. It also provides a great security against zero-day detection. So as you know, the new attacks are being created every day. And the great about this solution is that it doesn't use any signature as typical firewall or intrusion detection, intrusion prevention systems would use. So it learns from the network, and it alerts you on any, I would say, unwanted change and behavior in the network. So you can then easily react if there is some unexpected change. And that all together will give you short incident response time and make sure that your environment is secure and safe. So we're closing in. I would like to just mention that we have our trial license available on our website. So I really encourage you to check out our website, trial the solution for yourself. If you need any assistance, we will be happy to assist you with the deployment and configuration, and you will see for yourself what exactly is happening inside your network. And you would be surprised, as many of our customers usually are, when we deploy our solution, what we can actually find. The solution is really easy to deploy, either as a virtual license on VMware, KVM, or Hyper-V, or in your public cloud instance. It's really quick. Within 30 minutes from deployment, you can see the dashboards, you can see the traffic, and you will get the insight into your network. So there is a link to our website. You can access the trial, and if you need any assistance, we are here for you. So with that, I finished the webinar, and let's see if we have some questions. So I see one question here. Can this solution be automated with a Fortinet firewall? Yes. So actually on our website, we have a number of other vendors that we have technical integration with. Fortinet is one of them, and you can actually orchestrate an automated response and, for example, put the infected device into a quarantine. And we have that same integration with checkpoint firewalls and many other vendors. Are there any other questions? Okay. I don't see anything. I'll give it one more minute, but I think we will be good to go. Okay, so it looks like there are no other questions. I really hope that you liked our webinar today. I'm sure that I will see you, our audience, in the future with some new upcoming webinars, which we definitely plan. And it's been a nice experience today to do this webinar for you. I wish you happy Thursday, and I hope you see you soon. Goodbye.